Well, it's been very requested and it was inevitable. Of course, you know I'm going to do a cheapie list for the season. And this is going to be my 10 favorite cheapies that I plan on reaching for this fall season. So stay tuned. So in at number 10 is actually one that was featured in my summer to fall transitional video. This is perfect for that transition from summer to fall, and that's why I felt it would be great at number 10 right here, because it's going to be great in the fall nonetheless. It's a very wearable, almost barbershop styled tobacco fragrance, and the rhubarb's very prominent in this that make it have a little bit different character with the bitter orange. It's from John Varvatos Vintage. The Justin Copeland Special. If I had to associate one fragrance with Justin, it's this one. And if I had to associate John Varvatos Vintage with a reviewer, it's Justin. It's his favorite fragrance. We actually did a collaborative review on it back in New York last year. I know why he loves the fragrance, because it's damn good. It's got a uniqueness to it, you know. It's a drier tobacco. It's got a mild undertone of sweetness. The bitter orange up top with the rhubarb really blends very well to give this thing a lot of character. This is a very well blended, kind of a different take on what you would expect from a designer brand. You know, it doesn't really smell like anything else, but it takes cues from different styles of fragrance and kind of makes its own thing, you know. Very, very grounded, very warming. Like I said, it's got a lot of character. It's got a lot of style. At least that's how it smells anyways. And at the number 10 spot for this fall, John Varvatos Vintage. Number 9 spot. Now this is relatively new to the collection. I did pick this one up from Kingdom Fragrances. I picked it up as a tester. I did a first impressions video on this one with another in its line. And for those of you that love a good spicy fragrance, but you don't want just something that smells exactly like Spice Bomb, Azzaro Hot Pepper might be the fragrance you're looking for. Decent performance, you know, about 5 to 6 hours for most people. I get kind of in that 6-hour range on my skin. Oh man, the pink pepper and the chili pepper. It just works because that pink pepper adds just a nice little sweet undertone, while the chili pepper comes over the top with some red pepper heat. And I just want to spray it one more time. It smells so good. And in that first hour and a half, this stuff's pretty strong. Not gonna lie. It's kind of beyond arm's length for the first hour and a half. Then it starts to sit a little bit close to the skin, giving you kind of a very mild scent trail. It does get to the skin relatively close after about the 2-hour mark. So it's a decent performer, right in that average territory, but the projection's pretty heavy up front, and then goes in that moderate to mild range afterwards. You know, these can be found all over online in that $30 realm, right below 30, right above 30. I saw them all over eBay. FragranceNet has a stock right now. I'm not sure if Kingdom Fragrances currently has them in stock. I did not check before the video, but definitely a different take on a spicy fragrance for this fall that you're not going to spend a lot of money on. They get you decent performance and is going to have a high compliment factor, because most of the time a designer spicy fragrance will do that kind of stuff for you. Great for dates, great for just keeping you warm in the cooler months. And that's Azzaro Hot Pepper. Next, at the number 8 spot, this one may not surprise some of you. People that have been watching me for a long period of time know that I prefer this to the more famed Intense version from Bentley. I actually prefer Bentley For Men, the original. Reason being, this has a higher wearability. It's not as smoky and raw leather. This one's more spicy and boozy. A little bit subdued, but still a great performer. And like I said, it's much more spicy. This is the time of year when I like to bust the spicy fragrances out more. That's pretty much what the fall season is for me. It's spice time. Don't get me wrong, I wear a lot of spices in the winter too, but I'm very excited to wear them when fall rolls around, because heavy spice is a little too much in the hot weather. So I've been wearing freshies and aquatics and woody aromatics and barbershop fragrances all summer, just itching for a good warm spicy fragrance. And this one definitely remedies that and kind of quenches my thirst for a nice spicy juice, if you will. And like I said, no slouch, definitely performs very well. Maybe not as well as the Intense, but still 8+ hours on my skin. Beast mode projection in the first 2 hours, and then leaving a pretty good scent trail following after that. You don't have to do many sprays. 4 or 5 sprays is way more than enough with this fragrance. Spicy, boozy fragrance lovers, $25-ish range, all over it with Bentley For Men. Next at the number 7 spot was actually my number 1 for spring, and I still find it to have some really good uses for the fall time because it's very, very green and herbaceous, and that just goes well with the fall season. It's from Calvin Klein. It's Eternity EDP, my favorite version of Eternity. Oh man, it's still a fougere with some more herbaceous qualities. I'm glad they dyed the juice green because this is a very green fougere. Still a fougere, an aromatic fougere, but the green notes are really heightened in this one. And if you like the original, you'll love the EDP version. That's why it made number 1 for spring, and it's probably going to still be in the top 3 for spring next year because I haven't been wearing it as much as I would like to, and I'm definitely going to get back to it this fall. I've only worn it a handful of times this year, and it deserves more wear than that. You can find them in that $30-ish, sub $30 range for these 100 milliliter bottles, and this is a damn good fragrance in my opinion, and one that I'm definitely going to make it a point to reach for this fall because I didn't reach for it as much as I wanted to earlier in the year. At the number 7 spot, in my opinion, the best version of Calvin Klein Eternity, it's the Eau de Parfum. Moving into the number 6 spot, I actually just recently did a full review on this one. I'll actually put that video right there if you want to check it out. I picked this one up at 7fragrance.com, and this is from the Roberto Cavalli line, the Uomo line, excuse me. It's Roberto Cavalli Uomo Silver Essence. I kind of went back and forth on, do I put Uomo in the list? Do I put Silver Essence in the list? And don't get me wrong, I really, really enjoy Uomo. It's got a beautiful sweetness to it, but this just has violet leaf and orris and that sweet powdery tonka bean. This is just even more up my alley. And if I'm being honest with myself here, I'm gonna reach for this one more than the original Uomo. Don't get me wrong, like I said, I enjoy the original Uomo, but Silver Essence just has that floral iris orris that I love, and it just blends very well with the violet leaf. I'm going to be busting out the iris scents a lot more now that it's starting to cool off. Spices and florals. It's pretty much what fall is going to be about for me, and this is absolutely going to be getting reached for more. That's Roberto Cavalli Uomo Silver Essence. At the number 5 spot is returning from last year. This is possibly my favorite fragrance from Mercedes-Benz. Through the history of my channel, I've praised this fragrance several times. I did a comparison long ago at the very beginning of my channel between this and the original, and like I said, I think this is arguably my favorite Mercedes-Benz fragrance, and I have quite a few. It's Mercedes-Benz Intense, basically Aqua Fahrenheit, kind of a cross between Fahrenheit and Aqua Fahrenheit. Good performer, 8 to 10 hour fragrance. I kind of get the 9 hour range in longevity. Very good projection without being beast mode for the first 2 hours, and then, you know, nice little wafts to about the 4 hour mark. Then it starts to sit pretty close to the skin, but a very accurate depiction of Aqua Fahrenheit, kind of the in-between of Fahrenheit and Aqua Fahrenheit, where the violet's not overly petroleum, gasoline kind of note. You still kind of get a little bit of it. You get the essence of it, but it's not overpowering like it is in actual Dior Fahrenheit. And you can get this one around $30 for a 120 milliliter bottle like this. I mean, this thing's heavy, very stout. This thing's basically a weapon, and fantastic for this time of year. Was a little too much for the summer. That's where the original really shines because it's a bit lighter and more citrusy. But now that we're getting into fall, it's going to be all about Mercedes-Benz Intense when I'm in the mood for something Fahrenheit. This is the reason I've never gotten Fahrenheit, because for a lot less money, I smell pretty much just like Fahrenheit. Moving into the number 4 spot, I find the original to be great for spring and summer. And don't get me wrong, this one's not too heavy and too dense to where you can't wear it in the heat. But I really feel like the fall times where it really shines a lot more. And it's no slouch in performance. It's from Abercrombie & Fitch, First Instinct Extreme. This stuff's very good. It's musky, synthetic, don't get me wrong, and I know I'm not really a big fan of musks, but this one just kind of works. It's got a lot of warm spice to it. It's very creamy with that coconut milk that's in it. It's just a good fragrance. You can have them all over online. This, in my opinion, is the best version. I do like the original. It's much more on the melon. It's a lot, you know, more gin and tonic and melon. It's better for the heat. Whereas I just find this one to be better in the fall, better in the autumn, even better in the winter, for sure. Because it has that warming ability and it just performs so much better. 8 to 9 hour fragrance, 2 to 3 hours of pretty heavy projection. Definitely does not smell overly youthful. Any guy can wear this one for sure. Definitely a great pickup at a good price, kind of hidden gem territory because it doesn't get talked about a whole lot. People do mention it, but it's kind of under the radar for the most part. And one that I urge you, check it out if you like any of the others in the line. This is the best one in my opinion, and that's First Instinct Extreme from Abercrombie & Fitch. Moving into number 3, with all the talk of the new Eau de Parfum coming out, I still think this is going to get the most love because it's cheap, it's readily available, and it smells fantastic. It's from Hugo Boss, Boss Bottled Intense Eau de Parfum. I haven't smelled the new EDP yet. I do plan on getting it. I will have a bottle at some point, but this one's going to be hard to beat. This is the best Boss Bottled on the market until proven otherwise. That's why a lot of people are featuring it right now, because it's a damn good fragrance. And I love the original. Still, when I bust out my suit, well, my gray suit specifically, blue suit too, but specifically my gray suit, I like to pull out Boss Bottled Eau de Toilette. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about the feeling I get and how it smells, the whole ensemble. It just works for me. But in other situations, hoodies, golf shirts, Oxfords, different things like that, when I want to smell like Boss Bottled, I definitely reach for the Intense Eau de Parfum. It absolutely performs much better than the original, and it's much deeper and richer, and the compliment factor is definitely there. It's a modernized, deeper version, if you will, and when I say modernized, it's because it's so rich, and the original's sharp. But definitely the best version, like I said, until proven otherwise, at the number 3 spot, Boss Bottled Intense, the Eau de Parfum. Now at the number 2 spot, it may surprise some of you that it's number 2 because it's kind of my cheapie of choice. Let me rephrase that. It is my cheapie of choice. It's my favorite blue fragrance. It's my favorite cheap fragrance. But there's one that I'm going to be reaching for probably a little bit more, and you'll understand why when we talk about it. But at the number 2 spot, my cheapies for fall in 2020, Salvatore Ferragamo, Acqua Essenziale Blue. I know a lot of you, when you see it, you're probably like, wow, you didn't put that at number 1. Yeah, I debated on it, but you'll see why when I get to number 1. But this is, in my opinion, the best bang for your buck fragrance from a designer standpoint. $20 range. You can have a 50 ml to a 100 ml, depending on where you find it. Anywhere from $17 to $26. Depending on where you find them, you can either get a 50 ml like this, or on the higher end, you get 100 ml. Absolutely worth it. On my skin, 9-hour longevity, 2.5 hours of very strong performance. I know some people get terrible performance, and that's just the way it is with every fragrance. Trust me, I hear it all the time because people know this is one of my favorite fragrances, and I recommend it in a lot of videos. It's kind of my fragrance. But try it for yourself. You're not going to lose a lot of money if by chance you don't like it, which is, in my opinion, pretty difficult to not like. It does a lot of things really well. And the main thing it does really well is save you money to smell great. Number 2 spot, Acqua Essenziale Blue, Salvatore Ferragamo. And last but not least, in the number 1 spot, this is the fragrance that was able to keep my favorite cheapie from being number 1. And you can have this one in the mid to low 30s. And this is a stud in the winter as well. It's another one from Salvatore Ferragamo. They took the number 1 and 2 spot on this list because they're such a good designer house that gets cheap at discounters. Uomo Signature. A lot of you just went, ah, that's why. Yes, this is a wonderful coffee and leather fragrance. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. God, this smells so good. Very good performance. 8 to 10 hours depending on your skin. Some people probably get 6 or 7, just like the ones that don't get 8 to 9 on Aqua Essenziale Blue that get 4 on that one. Some people's skin just drinks these oils, you know. In my situation, doesn't drink it. I smell it floating in the air. This is arguably the best fragrance from the house. As far as most opinions are concerned, from what I've gathered, this may be the most popular Salvatore Ferragamo fragrance. And for good reason. And I mean even more so than F Black. F Black's good. They make a lot of good fragrances. They really do. But since this came out, this is pretty hard to beat. I believe it was 2018 this came out. Might be the best fragrance you can bust out in the cooler months, as far as cheapies are concerned. And definitely a compliment machine that you're going to love the way you smell. And it's going to garner you some compliments. I'm not going to say everybody that walks by you is going to say, hey, you smell good. But the probability of it happening is going to be heightened when you're wearing this fragrance. And I actually recommend this one for cheapies more so than my favorite cheapie this fall. And that's a One Most Signature, Salvatore Ferragamo. Well, that's my 10, guys. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. I'm sure number 2 kind of surprised you that it was number 2. A few of these you may have been expecting. A few of these maybe not. But hopefully this is some good recommendations for you guys. These are the cheapies that I'm going to be trying to reach for the most this fall season. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of the 10 that were discussed here in this video and you give them a spray now, there's a really good chance you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.